In this video, we're going to be talking about release patterns of where this golf club should be finishing post-impact, whether we want to get that kind of standard shot or we want to try and get the high shot. And also being able to control the flight, control the trajectory. When you understand how your ball is going to come off the club face, you'll then be able to understand how the ball is going to react once it lands. That is a really important area for you to understand where to land the ball, how much it's going to release or how fast it's going to stop, so then you know how to gauge your distance control, and that therefore will save you a lot of golf shots. I guarantee it. Something I'm not very good at, I need to get better at, but once you know the flights, once you know the get a standard comfortable feel, comfortable height, get a comfortable technique, that will make you a good chipper. So what we're going to be looking for here is where the golf club should be finishing relative to the body. If you look at the takeaway position, what I would always say, and even the setup, what I would always say, the club is out in front of the stomach, okay? So if I set up here, my golf club is in my belly button, okay? I'm going to swing the club back, and that's how I know it's on plane, because it's staying in front of my body on the way back. So my golf club and the relationship with my upper body stays very much the same throughout. If I just turn 90 degrees back, you see the club is back in front of my body. And that's the same theme I want to try and see for the follow through as well. So we do the takeaway, we swing through. If I turn 90 degrees, I've got that relationship back with the club where it's in front of my body. So we're working on parallel lines. We're working on a consistent arc in the golf swing. Now, in terms of the follow through, the most common one that I see is golfers trying to slide the club underneath it, therefore bowing the trail wrist, which if you look at where the club now finishes on the way through, if I turn my body, that's not pointing back at my belly button, that's pointing to the side of my body. So I want to try and make sure that as the golf club comes through, it stays and it points in front of the belly. That way then we can start to figure out how we're going to control the club face for the trajectory. So if I release this golf club and I get the toe of the club pointing up to the sky on the way through, with the club just there in front of my stomach, we should start to see a slightly lower release, slightly lower ball flight and a little bit more roll, as you saw there once the ball landed. If I manage to come through the golf ball and I maintain the loft, one thing you're going to notice here is, again, the butt of the club is still in my belly button, but the club face is now looking back at me. And that's how we're going to try and maintain loft through the shot. So we do that same position again. I actually landed that a little bit too short, but it landed a lot softer and stopped a lot faster. If I hit that again, we're going to see a little bit more height on this one. There we go. And we'll get a very fast stop on the way through. It probably stopped within about 6 feet of its landing area, whereas the first one landed just short of the green and rolled about maybe 10 to 12 feet up the green. So straight away we've got a consistency in how the ball flight is going to react. If I can get this feeling there of the golf club staying in front of my belly button with the toe of the club pointing up or the face pointing to the side, this way I know that I'm going to get a consistent flight. It's not going to be a super soft landing. It's going to have spin on it because the golf club has got loft on it. So the golf club will always create backspin. The better you strike it, the better your golf clubs are, the cleaner the grooves are, because they're not very clean, and the better the golf ball, the receptive of the greens, the quality of the grass and the lie will determine how the ball is going to land and spin. But also they are consistent factors, because you're going to be using the same club all the time. You're either going to keep it clean or you're not, and you're going to more often than not use a similar ball. And if you play at the same golf club, those factors are going to be a lot more consistent as well. So if you want that kind of, what I would say, conventional chip shot, where you get the toe of the club working up through the golf ball, then we get that release. So that's landed front edge of the green. It's actually hit another ball, but it's rolled to about 3 foot short. It would have gone further had it not hit the ball. So I know that golf ball is coming out, still got a good height. I'm not saying it's coming out waist height, it's still coming out with a good trajectory, but the way in which the ball is flying is on a more of like a plane. It takes off, a gliding motion, lands and releases. I often say the other one's more like a helicopter. It goes up a little bit higher And because it comes down more vertical, it doesn't roll for as far. Poor distance control again for me. That's the bit I told you, I need to practice my distance control. But that ball then went higher, landed softer, didn't roll out as much. Once you've got a consistency between two techniques with the same golf club, that's when you can learn to chip it longer, higher, shorter, flatter. That gives you options on the golf course. And the best way to practice is downhill on a little chipping green like this. What I would do is try and land the ball as close as you possibly can to the front edge of the green with both techniques. And then you should see two slightly different finish distances. The higher one will be shorter, the slightly more flighted one will be a little bit further up the green. Grab the balls back, then try and pitch it where that flag is, right in the middle of the green, with the exact same two techniques. One goes higher, one goes flatter. Flighted, I should say, not flatter, it's flighted. And then again, you'll see two slightly different distances between the two groups of golf balls. And then maybe try and feel that you're going to go land it a little bit further and try and hold on towards that back edge. Again, once again, you're going to be looking at that kind of higher ball flight. Club face is going to be looking at the body, butt of the club in front of the chest for the high one. And then as you release through the second one, you're going to have the butt of the club pointing back at the body with the toe of the club up, and we're going to get more of that flighted shot, and we're going to see the ball land and then just release that little bit further. So you've got two shots, one flighted, one high. Both have got the spin, and if you look at what you'll notice from even when you're pitching it 20, 30, 40 yards, the flighted one will still stop quite quickly. Let's say, for example, if you've got a 30-yard shot you're doing this with, the ball will only really roll out maximum 5 yards. So you're still carrying it 25. With the higher shot, you probably need to carry it 28 and it's only going to roll out a couple of yards. So you need to then figure out on the golf course when these shots come into play. For this particular one, I've got nothing in my way, so I would never really need to play that high shot because there's nothing to go over. I can land this on the front of the green knowing there's plenty of space towards that flag. If I'm maybe coming in from one of the sides and I've got to go over the bank, that's the time I'd maybe want to try to use the more higher shot, maintaining the blade open, but keeping the butt of the club in the body. I'm not going to try to manipulate it with my wrist working this way. I'm just going to try and allow the golf club to slide under the golf ball, keep using the bounce, keeping the butt of the club in front of the stomach on the way through. Two massively important shots that I've been teaching some of my skillless clients this week. Hopefully you guys can learn a little bit too. If you've enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. See you next time.